Welcome to After Dark Stories. Here we tell thrilling stories bound to make you come back for more. We upload new stories daily. Some are complete while others will be uploaded in episodes. But don't worry, all the multi-episode stories have their own playlist just for your convenience. If you like these stories, please give us a like and subscribe, as this will help us create better stories and videos. Now sit back, relax, and let's explore the unknown. From chains to freedom. Chapter 1. The Calm Before the Storm. In the lush greenery of the East African coast, there lived a young man named Kamau. He was the son of a healer, respected in his village for his knowledge of herbs and natural remedies. The sun rose over the horizon and painted the sky with hues of oranges and pinks, while the sound of waves gently lapping against the shore created a serene symphony that filled the air. Life was simple, yet filled with joy as families gathered to share stories and laughter. Kamau was known for his kindness and adventurous spirit. He spent his days exploring the coastal forests, where he would collect herbs with his father, swim in the ocean with his friends, and dream of distant lands. He often listened to stories told by the elders, tales of great empires, powerful kings, and brave heroes who had crossed seas and conquered mountains. But in the year 1821, when Kamau was just 18, everything changed. The winds of fortune began to shift as foreign ships became a common sight along their coast. Rumors ran rampant of traders and explorers venturing into the interior, seeking riches and resources. Unknown to Kamau, these traders were linked to a far more sinister trade, the enslavement of his people. Chapter 2. The Capture. One fateful day while gathering herbs with a group of friends, Kamau noticed a commotion at the edge of the village. A group of armed men approached, heavily cloaked and speaking in a language foreign to him. A panic surged through the air as the villagers recognized their intentions. In the chaos that ensued, Kamau's instincts kicked in. He turned to run, but swift hands caught him. They were slave traders, ruthless men who sought to profit from the suffering of others. Kamau was bound and thrown into a dingy hold of a ship, along with dozens of other young men and women from different tribes. The journey across the ocean was filled with despair. The stench of sweat and fear permeated the air, and at night they could hear the cries of those who had lost hope. Chapter 3. The New World. Kamau's ship docked in a bustling port city, its surroundings unlike anything he'd ever imagined. Buildings towered above, and the streets were buzzing with activity. Yet there was no time for awe. He was quickly herded into a slave market where buyers inspected the captives like livestock. Feeling a deep sense of loss, Kamau swore to himself that he would find a way back to his village, back to his family. He was purchased by a cruel plantation owner named Mr. Thompson. The days turned into weeks, and the reality of his enslavement settled in like a heavy cloud. Under the unforgiving sun, he toiled in the fields under the watchful eyes of overseers. He learned quickly that any sign of defiance would be met with brutal punishment. His spirit was tested, yet he held on to his dreams of freedom and home. Chapter 4. The Bonds of Brotherhood. In the fields of that harsh plantation, Kamau forged friendships with other slaves, including a man named Juma, who had been captured from a distant land. Juma became Kamau's closest ally. His wisdom and resilience inspired many. They spent their nights in whispered conversations, sharing stories of their homelands and dreams of freedom. As the years passed, Kamau devised a plan to escape. He had witnessed the pattern of the guards and the changing seasons, which aided his understanding of the land around him. He recalled remnants of his father's lessons on navigation using the stars. With Juma's help, they gathered intelligence and formed a small group of trusted friends, all eager to break the chains of their confinement. Chapter 5. The Great Escape. One moonlit night they made their move. Hearts raced as they tiptoed past sleeping guards, heading toward the edge of the plantation. After crossing a river that formed a natural barrier, they found themselves in the wilderness, navigating through dense forests and unfamiliar terrains. The journey was fraught with danger. They faced starvation, exhaustion, and the constant threat of capture. But the desire for freedom drove them forward. Along the way, they encountered other runaway slaves offering hope and assistance through their own network of secret routes. Chapter 6. Allies in the Shadows. On their journey, Kamau and his friends sought refuge with sympathetic abolitionists who risked their own safety to help escaped slaves. They took shelter in hidden cabins, where they learned about the growing movement against slavery and the fight for freedom that resonated throughout the country. Inspired, Kamau became determined to not only return home, but to fight against the institution that had enslaved him and his people. After weeks of harrowing travel, they reached a safe haven near the northern border, where they planned their next move. During this time, Kamau learned that the world was larger than he had ever known. Alliances formed across racial and cultural lines, united in their desire for justice. Chapter 7. The Confrontation. Kamau and his companions grew bolder, undertaking small raids on plantations to free enslaved individuals and gather supplies. Their actions drew attention, and eventually they were captured in a skirmish with a group of armed men. Fear coursed through Kamau's veins as they were led back to a nearby town. Yet fate intervened in the form of a local abolitionist who had been following their journey. He leveraged his influence to secure the group's release, arguing that they were no longer slaves, but freedom fighters. With a mix of gratitude and disbelief, Kamau found himself free once again. Chapter 8. The Journey Back Home. With the abolitionists' guidance, Kamau was pointed toward a pathway back to Africa, a risky endeavor that involved navigating a convoluted set of connections through sympathetic passageways. He encountered new challenges, from navigating through conflicting territories to confronting racism and suspicion from locals who had not yet embraced the abolitionist ideals. Through sheer determination and the unwavering spirit of hope, Kamau finally reached a port that would take him back to his homeland. Standing on the deck of the ship, with the salty breeze blowing against his face, a mix of apprehension and anticipation filled his heart. Chapter 9. Homecoming. The sight of his village came into view, and tears streamed down Kamau's face as memories flooded back of his childhood. But he was also painfully aware that many faces would be missing, lives forever changed by the brutality of slavery. His heart heavy, Kamau was welcomed back with open arms by those who had not lost hope. His mother, now older but with a spirit still vibrant, embraced him tightly, and memories of laughter from his youth returned. Kamau would spend the next years recounting his journey, spreading the stories of those left behind in a land filled with darkness. He collaborated with elders to initiate initiatives aimed at healing the scars left on their community, and he became a voice for those both enslaved and free. His experiences equipped him with knowledge that allowed him to speak passionately about the evils of the slave trade. Chapter 10. A Legacy of Hope. Kamau transformed his pain into purpose, becoming a local leader and advocate for freedom. He engaged in connecting local tribes and communities, weaving together a narrative of resilience and unity. His efforts inspired neighboring villages to join in the fight against colonialism and oppression. As he grew older, Kamau reflected on his journey. He had faced unimaginable hardships, but through it all, he learned that hope, friendship, and resilience could illumine even the darkest of paths. His legacy was not just one of survival, it was a testament that the human spirit could rise above even the chains of despair. Kamau became a symbol of courage, both for his community and for future generations. His story, passed down in oral tradition, served as a powerful reminder that freedom is a hard-fought right worth pursuing. And though the scars of the past would never fully fade, the strength found within those experiences could inspire others to rise and fight for a better future. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. This will really help the channel grow. Always stay safe, but most of all, stay curious. Until next time.